Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Well, Phillipe Clement has spoken to the media in Prague, previewing the game against Hearts this weekend. Obviously, giving the press conference there because of obviously needing to fly back to Glasgow within the next 24 hours. So, one of the couple of headlines, Kemar Roofe is out injured. What a surprise. And he seemed, the overwhelming feeling, one of the feelings that came through from the presser today was that Clement is, I think, growing increasingly frustrated and annoyed, shall we say, with the number of injuries that we have as a club. Possibly something to do with the awful training methods of the previous management, and also perhaps the robustness of some of the players at the club. Some of these players now might be definitely on a limited or shortened leash in terms of their futures at the club. Obviously, we build up towards the Hearts game this weekend, a game that we, really do need to be winning, that we should be winning. We should be putting in a convincing performance as we did against Hibs. Hearts, not having the best of seasons, not playing particularly great football. They looked pretty dreadful last time out against Celtic, but let's face it, we know they will raise their game against us because everyone does, and then lays down and dies against that lot from across the city. On Kemar Roofe, yes, Mr. Glass himself, Phillipe Clement said he will not be available for the weekend. Next week, we need to take a good look on how he is getting on and how we bring him back long term. So there appears to be another complication in terms of Roofe's fitness, and Clement seems to have, sort of identified that we need to look at this in terms of, is he a player we can get back long term or not? I would dare to suggest that Roofe is someone who could well be got rid of at the end of the season. He is out of contract, and the fact that he is always injured, obviously, is a clear frustration to Phillipe Clement. Clement did talk, didn't he, about the fact that he had 90% availability in his previous teams in terms of player fitness. So I think Roofe is certainly someone whose head could well be on the chopping block. Phillipe also mentioned Barisich. He said, we will see if he can train tomorrow or not. So still, again, an uncertainty over Borna. Personally, hope he doesn't train. Personally, hope he isn't fit for the game. Personally, hope he's out for the rest of the season. But, Ridvan for me has to start. I think Ridvan is the better option at left back. I think whilst the three at the back experiment looked okay, I still think going to the 4-2-3-1 is a better system for the players we have at the club at this moment in time. And I think Ridvan offers you a lot more in that left back slot in terms of defensive and getting forward. Ridvan for me is 10 times the player that Borna, the bottle job, is. So I would definitely be playing Ridvan on Sunday. One of the things I think that came across again is just how professional Phillipe Clement is in terms of his press conference, how good he is in terms of giving across the message. And also the fact that he doesn't suffer fools. I mean, he was asked a question about Tom Lawrence and Robbie Matondo, and his response was, they're still in Glasgow. And that was it. Very funny reply from Phillipe, a sarcastic answer. Loves a bit of sarcastic answer. And I think he deals with the media very well, particularly, when the media ask him leading questions or pretty crap questions that, previously they would have got a diatribe of verbal diarrhea from Mickey the used car salesman that we used to have as our manager. He talked about Deno as well. He said Deno has been out for a while and not played 90 minutes for a long time. He looked bright and we need to focus on making him stronger. It is a work in progress. So it sounds very much like Deno is not in line for a start, or if he does, it's not a 90-minute performance from Deno. The one thing I would say is that the team looked a lot better when Deno came on. Dessers was frustrating. He struggled to hold the ball up. He struggled to bring others into play. He did really struggle again last night. And look, we are giving him that clean slate after that goal of the weekend. He's trying. He's a nice guy, but he does seem to really struggle. And for me, Deno just seems the better option. He's quicker. He holds the ball up better. He drifts out wide and drags players into play. He keeps the ball up and he brings others into the game so much better than Dessers does. And I just think that for me, you've got to start Deno over Dessers every single game. Dessers is not even half the player Deno is. And it is frustrating that Deno is taking time to get back, but it's clear that Phillipe Clement is working on that. He talked about the fact that he's here to make the team stronger. That's where my focus lies and not on any external noise. An interesting comment there. Who does he mean by the external noise? Does he mean the media? Who does he mean about when he talks about that? Is he talking about how the media criticizing, or, in terms of that. But he wants to make this team stronger, fitter. That's a common theme in all these press conferences. It's clear to me that Phillipe Clement does not rate the fitness of this club at all in terms of its strength, conditioning, not in terms of its aerobic ability. I think players can run and run and run, which is what Michael Beale had them do at the start of the season and in pre-season in Germany. What I think he means is the strength and conditioning isn't there to, really transform it from being just aerobic fitness to being that explosive fitness, that game time fitness that they need. They are sadly lacking that. And I think that is something that Clement is definitely working on. He says we need to work hard in the coming weeks and months to see what we need to do in January. With injuries, you need to find solutions, but we had players who were able to step in, and that's what I expect. So, I think there is a suggestion that Rangers will try and purchase 2 to 3 players in January, but it is a case of looking at what the injured players that we have and trying to get them back and seeing if they can fulfill the roles. If they can't, can anyone else step up, which obviously Ben Davies did last night. It is quite clear for me that we do need to strengthen in January. I think we need a winger. I think we need a centre-back. And I think we need a left-back, possibly another left-back at the club. Hopefully we can get Deno Struggles fit, so that gives us another right-back option. I thought Tav was pretty awful defensively last night. So, look, it is what it is. We've got to obviously build. And obviously, whoever we bring in as director of football will have an input on any signings that we make. He said, we are going to work hard with the players around fitness, recovery and lifestyle and what they do technically. We have done analysis on yesterday's game and we are building something together. What a fascinating comment that is. Lifestyle. He's quite clear, I think, that some of his lifestyles outside of the game are not up to what he would expect for a professional athlete. That's in terms of diet, that's in terms of the way of sleeping habits, that's in terms of the way of living habits, of everything. It was interesting. I do obviously, I've worked with a lot of American YouTubes and a lot of American journos on NFL. And one of the big things that they sort of dedicate themselves to in terms of the NFL teams is players' lifestyles off the field. And, staying away from drink, staying away from unhealthy foods, getting sleep patterns to be more regular, staying within a good, healthy sleep pattern that all impact the wider fitness and the wider mentality and the wider wellness of that player. And I think that is something that we can adopt in football. And I think, some of the lifestyles perhaps of these players off the pitch is something that Clement is not impressed with. And he wants to see a more professional attitude, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. He says we need to work hard, and this is constantly work hard. He's expecting a lot of hard work, concentration, and focus over the next weeks and months. With right players and right focus, we can make a good season, and that's what I think that's what he needs. We need to get that focus back, and it's certainly something we saw against Hibs. I think we saw last night. I think under Michael Beale, that's a game we lose last night. We did have a stronger fight, a stronger mentality there. Yes, the first half wasn't good. Second half was better. And in the end, we had some decent chances. Jack Butland was fabulous in goal. Deno did really well when he came on. Seema played very, very well as well in an unfamiliar position. So, look, at the end of the day, I think we can have a good season. I think January will help. We can bring some players in as well. Parts of a few interesting players that I'm aware of, but it's going to be a game we want to be dominant in. And that is just one of the best statements I've heard all along. As I talked with Carolina Marino on the podcast the other night, as I talked in videos, we need to get back to that. We need to get back to being dominant Rangers. We need to get back to being a team that is very much, in the old attitude of Rangers. We are Rangers. We will do what we want. It's how many goals we're going to score because we are the dominant force here. And that's what we need to get back to. And hearing Clement talk like that is superb. He said Cifuentes will hopefully train tomorrow with the team, which is good news that Cifuentes is on his way back. Hopefully, Phillipe Clement can work his magic with Jose Cifuentes. Tom Lawrence and Deno Struggles will not be available. Certainly putting Tom Lawrence on very thin ice in terms of his fitness in the eyes of the manager. Look, it is what it is. I think the overwhelming theme is very much around fitness and very much around the fact that we need to improve the fitness and strength and conditioning of these players to get the very best out of them so that they are not at any time overawed, overperformed, outmuscled by any team. And that is what Phillipe Clement clearly wants. And he wants that to be on the pitch and off the pitch. It'd be interesting to see what team he selects against Hearts on Sunday. Obviously, given that they've played on Thursday, the availability and fitness of the players, obviously, Cifuentes should be back. Barisich, unfortunately, might be back. But look, we've got to judge it on the day. I think for me, we go back 4-2-3-1. Personally, I'd like to see, given the availability issues and the fitness issues, you've got, I think, a situation where you would play with Butland in goal, back four, Tav, Goldson, Suter, and Ridvan for me. Raskin and Lundstrom in front of the back four. So Lundstrom sits, Raskin goes. The three in front of them, Cantwell in the hole, in the 10, in the free roll, Seam out wide left. I want to see Ross McCausland play, get McCausland out wide left. I don't want to see Sam Lammers. He's just been awful. He was insipid last night. And then I want to see Deno start. Even if he only gives you 60 minutes, let him go and terrorise Hearts for 60 minutes. And then you can bring on whoever you want from the bench, which will probably have to be Cyril Dessers, given the fact that Kamaru is again unfit. Well, guys, let me know what you think of what Phillipe Clement has had to say in his press conference. Thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. If you can smash the sub, that'd be brilliant. But two things I always need you to do for me on the way out. Number one, smash the like. And number two, remember, we are the